Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dashcoin Research Podcast. I'm your host, Nicholas Wenzel, and today I have Nick with me. Nick is the founder of DexToro, the Robinhood of DeFi. Nick, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So let's start by talking a little bit about your background. How did you get into building in crypto, and what led you to build DexToro?
Yeah, exactly. So I've been basically building my whole life. Actually started super early. I dropped out of high school to start my first, fintech SaaS company. So that's kind of where it all started. Essentially, that was it was a SaaS company where users can sign up and they can build out their own trading view indicators, and they just build out a strategy, and then they essentially compile it and they build out automated trading strategies and algorithms, and import it into TradingView and trade on their exchanges. Back then there weren't, crypto wasn't really that big as it is now, but yeah, and basically I would always build these companies out, and I would have a buyer within like 6 months, make a few like successful exits. So you can call like serial entrepreneur, just building and getting acquired. And yeah, I mean, I had a few of those, all fintech and trading, and now we're basically here. Went from doing all these small companies, selling them, and then finally with DexToro, decided to just settle down and laser in, and basically going all into crypto and DeFi. And we essentially, right, I was kind of in the trenches. I was in crypto, just the trading, and then right when FTX collapsed, I basically, that was a signal to me that the future of crypto is all on chain, is all non-custodial. It's DeFi, and so yeah, it went all in and decided to start DexToro, and that's kind of where all that started. This was 2023.
Nice. And then how did you hear about Believe? Like, how did that first happen? Did you see it on Twitter? Did Ben come approach you? How'd that start?
Yeah, so I actually didn't know anything about Believe or Launchcoin until our listing team actually listed Launchcoin on DexToro, and we listed it on the first day before it went parabolic. So I was like, what is Launchcoin, right? So I found it because I use my own product. So I'm trading on DexToro app every single day, and we listed Launchcoin. Had no idea. Obviously, we have a pretty large team, on-chain analysts and listing teams, and they typically list tokens, goes through our general guidelines, and so yeah, we listed it, Launchcoin, and that's kind of where I started doing all the research in crypto, on Ben and the whole team, and I was like, this is a game changer. And then I saw the new narrative, internet capital markets, and it was a no-brainer. We were going to launch our token anyways, Q4 of this year, Q1 of next year, and we were going to do it like a massive, probably like $1 billion valuation. We were going to do the whole VC coin route, doing all that good stuff. But honestly, the Believe ecosystem and what they offer, it was a no-brainer, and that's why we just quickly went and launched, and so far so good, honestly.
Yeah, it's been you guys have been one of the more successful coins to launch. I think people really embrace the product you guys have because it's crypto native, and I think that makes people more excited because they can grasp it. Whereas some of these other products are cool, but they're not crypto as products really. I feel like that gives you guys a good edge. Yeah, how has your relationship with the Believe team been? Have you had much support from them, or has it been kind of distant? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, so obviously I joined the Slack channel, and we started to kind of get familiar with each other, get intros, honestly a month before. So obviously when the Launchcoin first launched, it was a day after that where I started to contact them, and yeah, we kind of coordinated a month in ahead, made sure everything looked good, it made sense for us. And yeah, so far the support's good. They're always, answering our questions, anything we need. So yeah, definitely great support there.
Nice. Paint me a picture of like the broader vision that you have for DexToro. Where do you see this going in a year from now?
Yeah, well, you said it in the beginning, right? The Robinhood of DeFi. That's essentially what we're trying to go to. If you look at the market cap, the size of Robinhood, what is it, 10, $20 billion company, right? It's a publicly traded company, so the valuation's out there, but essentially that's where we're heading, right? We want to be the go-to, the household name for DeFi traders, for honestly every crypto trader, as everything will eventually be on chain, and honestly centralized exchanges will serve their purpose, for on ramp, off ramp, right? Doing things like that, fiat exchanges, but for everything trading wise, it's going to be on chain, it's going to be DeFi, and it's going to be DexToro, and that's where we're heading. Is want to onboard all the Web2 users, ones that don't really understand DeFi, they're scared to try, it's too complex for them, but also right now we're basically onboarding a good chunk of crypto Twitter right now, around 1,000 users a day, and we're just keep growing. And obviously now we're expanding our engineering team to meet up with all the demands. So I say a year from now, I mean, we're going to be one of the household names, right? Top 10 DeFi platforms.
I love it. Is it going to be cross chain, or are you focused mostly on one chain? What's that looking like?
Yeah, good question. Yep. So obviously right now, the narrative, the hype is Solana, right? Meme coins. That's kind of where all the on-chain trading activity is. Although the way we're looking to expand and become, this Robinhood of DeFi example is to push out more products and features within the app to allow users to do more than just trade. So we're building an ecosystem. We're going to build, leverage trading, copy trading, and just a whole bunch of analytical tools. So alongside of this, we have the opportunity to support more blockchains than just Solana. So we were thinking about, we have some options, Base, Sui, maybe Monad, if things look good on them in terms of meme coin trading, because that's where all the trading fees are. So we're kind of taking it step by step, but yeah, we can basically support any blockchain. So cross chain definitely is going to help, for us to meet where we want to be at.
Yeah, I was looking at Mega ETH too. I'm excited for that one because it's I've seen a lot of good things about it being like new apps and just a really clean user experience. It's very centralized, but it's great and fast. So I feel like it's a strong contender to have a lot of trading. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, it depends, right? Because when Sui came out, they were supposed to be the Solana killer, right? And I guess in our industry, the underlying tech under the hood of the blockchain, speed, throughput, security, those things matter. But for us, it's all about where's all the activity on chain, right? Which is Solana. So there's no alternative right now. So the future, we'll see what the future has. Yeah.
Yeah, so your approach is going to where the trading fees are. It's like if Mega ETH pops off, or if Base pops off, or if Monad becomes a place with a lot of stuff, then you can add it, but you don't need to predict it before it happens. If you see the data that there's a lot of volume somewhere, you'll just add it in. Is kind of the approach
Yep.
I'm seeing from you.
Yeah, exactly,
that
right.
sounds
Because
rational.
yep, exactly.
So why launch on Believe instead of doing your TGE yourself? Because one of the downsides I see to Believe is that you are sharing a large portion of the volume fees with Believe, and I believe in your case it's 30% of the volume fees go to Believe, and 70% goes to you guys. But why even give them the 70%? Why not just create this model on your own?
Honestly, it's all about the marketing and the support. So the amount of new users that we've acquired, and our trading fees have absolutely skyrocketed our app revenue. And this is mainly because, well, if you think about it, we launch on Believe. We have essentially free marketing, and we have a valuable real estate on the Believe app, right? So as Believe grows, more users are on the app. Users are on the app every day. The DTR token is essentially on the homepage of Believe, and it's just getting us thousands of users a day. So honestly, it's just the amount of marketing and the amount of users that are exposed to DTR token, but obviously that works in sync, right? What is DTR? All right, here's their application. They download it, and they actually get pretty surprised. Like, this is actually crazy, right? Most like Believe projects are, in prototype stage, MVP, and they see Dextoro, and it's fully built out on the App Store, and it serves a good purpose to the user base that's all using Believe, right? Traders, right? So it's like everything just makes sense.
Is it kind of like Axiom, where you deposit and then you guys kind of like execute trades for me, or like what would you compare it to if you had to? Or is it more like a centralized exchange like Coinbase, where I deposit and I do KYC and then start doing exchanges?
So I would honestly compare it to basically like almost like Jupiter. So if you think about we're an aggregator in a way, but we're also just a supercharged visual interface essentially. So at the core of it, Dextoro is just a non-custodial wallet. So we're literally using the same exact underlying technology that Phantom Wallet uses, or Trust Wallet, or Coinbase Wallet. So at a core, we're just a non-custodial wallet. But then, so our partner is Turnkey for our wallet infrastructure. And then from there, we've designed the app to not be as confusing and clunky as Phantom Wallet. So first, there's no gas fees. Second, every token that gets listed on Dextoro is vetted and verified. So if you go to Phantom Wallet, for example, you go on the Explore page, 99% of all those tokens are rug pulls and scams. So we've removed that. So we're building a trusted application. So when we do list, the next 100x meme coin or whatever, right? Users are on Dextoro, gas free, and they trust us. They're looking at us. We list a new token, they get a notification. They know that token has already been vetted by our team. So there's so many components here that just takes the best of all the existing platforms out there. And so users just deposit USDC or on-ramp with Apple Pay or credit card, and it's just a visual front end, and we route all of our orders to all the dexes, and our API basically just finds the best liquidity pool for your order.
Nice. It kind of reminds me of Moonshot. I believe they have a similar kind of platform where they launch, or they verify certain projects, and then they get listed on the app, right? And then people can now trade that. Does that sound similar to you?
It's basically the exact same thing as Moonshot, right? Same. We're using the same infrastructure partners as them. Basically, it is Moonshot on steroids, and I say this because now with the DTR token, it just really enhances the entire user experience in the product itself, right? From DTR holders, you hold it in the Dextoro wallet, Dextoro app, you're getting a reduction in trading fees, right? We charge 1% for anything above 250, boosted referral rewards. So on that side, it's the product enhancement. The token just enhances the product. That itself, obviously, is a huge upside and advantage that we have over Moonshot. Second, we're working on expanding our listing team. So we are going to be focused on being the app where we're going to list all the new hottest tokens first before every other platform. So that's going to be number 2, right? So users are going to be able to make the most amount of profits on Dextoro, as well. Obviously, getting in tokens, the faster, the better, right? The more profits. So And yeah, it's essentially the same, but I would say, we just launched. Obviously, Moonshot has been around for much longer than we have. The Trump token exclusive partnership that they had definitely put them on the radar. They did like $13 million in one day, during the Trump launch. So exclusive listings is going to be huge for us as well moving forward. So we have a massive like marketing roadmap that we've laid out for exactly how we're going to tackle 90% of the market share, I guess, by the end of this year. That's kind of our goal, 3 million users by the end of the year. But yeah, and I think it's a great narrative, right? It's I would say it's like DeFi trading apps. It's its own narrative as well. So, but yeah, that's the best example. Is we're essentially like a moonshot, but undervalued with a token and a killer team looking to take market share.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like actually way back in the day when Moonshot first came out, I used it and I was like, man, this thing's cool. Like, I wish I had some way to gamble on it. Like, I think it's going to take off, Whenever, like being a crypto trader, whenever you see something that, is undervalued or underappreciated, you always want to trade it. I feel like that's at least my instinct. Like with Believe, I love that there's a token because right now I feel like it's underappreciated, but I feel like Launchcoin, it's going to go up because I think there's something special here. And I felt the same about Moonshot. And I was like, man, I would love to trade it, but there's no Moonshot equity and there's no Moonshot tokens, so c'est la vie. And same with stablecoins. Like stablecoins are awesome, but no one knows how to make money on it, and that's why Circle did it went to like 30 billion or whatever it did on the first day of trading. Like people want stablecoin exposure and they don't know how to get it. And if I wanted Moonshot exposure, I don't know how to get it. But now this is like the closest thing to, or in its own version in DTR tokens. So I think that's really cool, and that's part of why I love Believe, is because you allow these cool products that if you believe in it as a user, you can bet on it. And I feel like that's really special. You guys have also been really focused on like a flywheel, and you guys, I feel like, are very tapped into the crypto native aspect of what people want in a token, which they want token that has a demand. That you don't want to just have a token with sell pressure. You want a token with buy pressure or usage pressure. And so I would love to get into that portion of the conversation now, to talk about the DTR token and just kind of give me an overview of what it is and what it's used for, those kind of things.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, first off, here is that, in my opinion, in the long run, tokenomics is very important. Obviously, product has to have incoming revenue as well. But in the long run, I think that if you don't have a flywheel integrated with your products, revenue coming back in, buying back into the token, you're not going to last very long in this market. So the flywheel is number one on our priority. It's the most important part of the tokenomics for DTR, and that's why we put so much focus on it. Recently, we've done a lot of calculations internally, and we figured that we just bumped it up from 10% of our app revenue up to 20%. We're going to be doing these buybacks once a week, every Saturday. We're also taking our Believe creator fees, same thing, 20%, buying it back on Saturday as well. So we're going to have like pretty big buybacks every Saturday, tweeting it, all the transaction hashes, everything transparent on chain. But yeah, that's kind of going to be the main focus, and that's why users are extremely excited. Is in a way, if you compare like to the stock world, it's like receiving dividends almost, right? Technically, it's not, but it's first of all, it's the company itself having the confidence and putting money where the mouth is reinvesting back in the company, right? Secondly, token holders, they know that the buybacks are going to continuously inject liquidity into the token directly from the product's revenue, which is why they're holding it. So the flywheel is honestly like the only thing that should matter in the long run. Obviously, short-term volatility, short-term hype and speculation is going to happen with every token, but flywheel is what is the recipe if you want to reach $1 billion market cap on a token. It's the only way.
Agree, 100% agree. I think one company that has done this really well is Hyperliquid. Like they have a killer product, and they have a sweet token that people love to hold and has a cult following around it because they distribute so much of the revenue through to token holders in the form of buybacks. Because when you do the math on paper, it has the same impact on shareholder value that dividends do. You could either pay out that money as a dividend, or if you use that same money to buy back the token, if the demand and supply of the token stay equal, that buy pressure has the same effect on the token holders' value, that it makes all the tokens prices increase. So I like that you're aware of that as well.
Yeah.
Was Hyperliquid kind of an inspiration to you as well in that way?
Yeah, they were obviously like kind of the first ones to really take the leverage trading perpetual futures sector. When it first started, there was like there was like DYDX and a few others that kind of were the first to market. But back then, like, I guess the technology for on-chain perpetual futures still wasn't fast enough. It just wasn't there compared to centralized exchanges. And obviously they were kind of the first ones that were able to offer the same exact user experience and speed and performance compared to like centralized exchanges, but fully on chain. So yeah, they definitely shook up the market, created their own little sector. Hybrid dexes came out after that, right? You hold self custody, but they have like a matching engine that is off chain. So off chain trading engine out, matching engine, but your funds are non-custodial. So that was the narrative there. And yeah, I think we're looking to do the same thing, right? Obviously, Robinhood of DeFi created a new narrative and just tackle that. So lots of inspirations throughout the journey.
Yeah. And an interesting conversation I saw on Twitter about why DYDX lost market share to Hyperliquid was because their token didn't actually do anything for the holders. Like DYDX made a lot of money, but none of that went through to the token holders, from what I was reading. Take that with a grain of salt because I'm not super deep in the weeds there, but my point to say that is that I think the token flywheel aspect of it and people aligning incentives through a token is really powerful, and people underestimate how big of an impact it has. When you have token holders, you have like an army of people who want you to win and give you feedback and give you hype on Twitter and keep you in the mind share, which is like so important for applications. That's another big thing about Believe coins that I think is really special, is that it gives you like an instant community of people who want you to win, and it aligns incentives among so many different people. I'm sure you saw that before you launched, you saw the same things I'm seeing, where the like value of having a community of token holders is like very incredible.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the community, the platform that they've built, obviously. I think also another new standard for, obviously, like Pump was the first one to kind of make it mainstream, but fair launches, right? Fair launches, I think, is extremely important, and for transparency, but for fairness for all the token holders as well. Token holders realistically are investors in the team and the product, right? So I think Believe also really focused on enhancing and improving how fair launches are conducted. I really like how they're tackling that, and I agree with that, and I love fair launches, and that's why that's why we launch on Believe. That's another reason why it's just everything just makes sense. Everything is honestly, it's a perfect recipe for launching your token.
Yeah. How big is your team at the moment? Would you like to share that?
Yeah, sure. We got 6 full-time engineers. Vitaly, he has our badge on X. He's our CTO. Then we have Maxime. He's our VP of engineering. We have a principal backend engineer. We have a front-end engineer. We have a couple just full stacks that assist on back end, on front end, and then we had our principal backend engineer Chen. He built a lot of our databases, a lot of the price aggregation that we do. So I mean, it's under the hood. The app is it looks simple. Obviously, it's a clean UI, but I can tell you this app is crazy complicated under the hood. I mean, like we're using like AWS and just so many components that we had to work with, and yeah, so it's not easy. So we have 6 engineers that are working full time. You know, we couldn't really do this with 1 or 2, and aside from that, we got like 20 different strategic advisors. You know, anywhere from capital formation, connections to celebrities, a few that we've already onboarded. I can't say any names, but you know, we have some of the biggest celebrities already locked in. They're just waiting for everything to be battle tested. Obviously, with such a big reputation, you have to wait and to make sure everything looks good. And yeah, and then we have on-chain team that does all the listings, social media managers, you know, everything else you would find in, I guess, coming to be an established startup.
That's awesome. You're definitely one of the biggest teams I've spoken with then. I mean, most of these Believe coins are, like you said, MVPs or small teams of either like 1 to maybe max 3 founders, usually 1 or 2 people working on a product. So that's really cool to see that you guys like have such a built out team. Are you guys venture funded? Are you bootstrapped? Like, where's the funding coming from before you launched and like right now? Like, who's paying the bills?
Yeah, so we launched a 550K seed pre-seed round, closed that in January. So Julian, he's actually a good friend of mine. He lives here in Miami, so he was actually the first one I went to. He has his own venture capital firm, Innovate Ventures, and he was actually the first one I went to right when after the FTX collapse. I was like, all right, we're going all in. So I had to find initial capital to get started. So yeah, so we are venture backed, small pre-seed round, and we are currently in the process right now of raising a significant amount of capital right now. Obviously, you know, conversations are a lot different than they were before the token launch, right? I mean, they clearly see the trading fees are up dramatically. A lot of, you know, we have a lot of mind share on Twitter, a lot of people talking about us. So yeah, I think now with the token, it's the value. The negotiations are a lot different. I mean, we're able to ask for much higher valuations now, and yeah, and this is all just more, you know, bullish for token holders, because typically when we raise, we're raising strictly on the equity side of the business.
How do you think about that marriage between the two, of like a hybrid equity and token business? Because some businesses just have a token and no equity, and some businesses have, you know, an equity but no token. Like I think Pump Fund is a good example. Now they're raising a token, but you know, and you're doing more of a hybrid approach where you have a token and you also have people with equity. So how do you think about that in your mind?
Yeah, well, this is the best way that I present it to our investors. The cap table is essentially, the token is it's an enhancement for the existing product, like I mentioned. So it basically improves our app. Number 2, it sort of acts as in itself, it's its own marketing, like a magnet, right? Like a lead magnet, right? So it's like a marketing. It's like a marketing company, right? Working for us. What the token is because you know, we've spent some capital on marketing previously before Believe, and I can tell you that, you know, a lot of people, they don't really know how to market it, or agencies will say they'll do all this for you, and it's like, we had a decent amount of users and growth, nothing compared to what this token has done for us in terms of the amount of, you know, users and traction it's done for us. So I just told them, you know, the token, like, look what the token did for the app revenue, which is what the investors on our cap table actually care about, right? So yeah, when you explain it like that, I think the kind of confused, a lot of founders are, you know, a few founders actually reached out to me as well on that side. They're like, how do you, now that you're raising, how do you approach these these conversations, because are they more interested in the token or the equity, or so yeah. But equity definitely for the professional investors, and when you paint it that way, then yeah, I mean they'll probably buy the token themselves, but equity is their main focus.
Interesting. Yeah. Let's get into the specifics of the flywheel that you outlined. I'm not sure we got into the specifics. I think we talked about it briefly, but not like exactly. Oh, no, you did. Excuse me. You said that there's 20% of the app revenue is going back to token buybacks, right?
Yep, exactly. And 20% of the, and then also now 20% of our Believe creator fees, the 70% will also be, in a buyback every Saturday into DTR as well. And and then we take 90% of that total, and we essentially have that reserved for the boosted referral rewards. So obviously affiliates, they onboard their referrals into the app, they earn 50% of all of the trading fees that those referrals generate and pay on the app. But on top of that, they're also going to get an additional DTR tokens with every USDC reward they get. So that's going to will probably be one of the most attractive referral programs out there with this additional DTR boost.
That's sick. Very cool, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. You had a previous token on Optimism and a previous project rather. So could we talk about that a little bit? What was that, and like, kind of what's the story behind it?
Yeah, we should clear the waters, clear everything here. So obviously, we started building in 2023, right? So obviously it's 2025. So what were we building before the app, right? We haven't been building the app for 2 years. We started out with perpetual futures, right? So we wanted to tackle perps, leverage trading. So that was our first product. This is our second product. And by the way, that first product, it was called DexToro Pro. It was a perp futures dex on Optimism. We partnered up with Synthetics as our liquidity provider. And this was basically our product since the beginning, all the way until around the summer of last year, when we kind of started really focusing on the app. And then eventually, so DexToro Pro was discontinued. We simply couldn't really find product market fit. It was quite difficult because, we were on Optimism only. Optimism's a great chain, lots of great support, but there was no users there. And our UX was quite terrible. A lot of bridging, a lot of complexities. We weren't able to onboard Web2 users at all. It had to be like crypto natives that understood everything from bridging and getting the right stable coin. We were using SUSD to deposit. It was a mess on the UX side. So yeah, and the market for perps started to get so oversaturated. Big platforms coming out, massive raises. It was just didn't make sense. So we decided to discontinue it, and we had DToro, which was a utility and rewards token for DexToro Pro. And obviously, if we discontinue that platform, we must discontinue the token that is synced with the platform. So we had about a couple thousand token holders. Those token holders are in our private Discord, and they are going to be converted at a profit once everything settles here and we start to get things going. They're essentially going to deposit their DToro tokens into a smart contract, and they're going to receive DTR tokens in exchange for a profit. And that's essentially, they're all excited, they're all happy. There's a lot of FUD just because, the new token holders of DTR, or people that don't understand this or don't know this story, then they assume something went wrong. But when you discontinue a token, obviously, what's the point of having any liquidity there? So we pulled the liquidity, we discontinued everything. They're all in our Discord. They're all happy once they get their conversion. And so I hope this clip right here gets clipped and probably post it on our official channel as well, just to clear the waters here. Nothing weird happened there, full transparency, and it happens, right? Companies rebrand new product, but when crypto companies rebrand and they have a token, you have to discontinue the token, right? So
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
that.
a
So yeah,
straightforward answer. I mean, I think that's totally understandable that like, if a product doesn't work out, you have to pivot, and it's a good thing you pivot. I mean, if you were still trying to do perps on optimism, it wouldn't be any better for your token holders. You know, it's better that you're doing something new, and you have a new vision. That's great.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and obviously it was difficult to gain a significant amount of trading fees, and I don't think with that first token, nothing was, none of the conditions and everything was perfect like it is now with DTR for achieving the flywheel that we're trying to achieve here. So yeah, it's all good. It makes sense. And yeah, I'm just glad to get that out of the way.
Yeah, totally. I think that's about all from me. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on that we haven't spoken about yet?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to be active on X now a lot, but I think,
You're actually
obviously
super
now
good at
it's,
being active on X. I actually want to compliment you and your team for being some of the best posters on Twitter in the Believe like ecosystem. I'd say there's like there's like three really good posters that come to mind. There's like DexToro, there's Avi from Kled, and Dupe team. You got like all three of you guys are really good at posting about your project, keeping people engaged, like posting media updates, things like that. So I definitely want to give you, props there, and also just posting like cool pictures just to say hi, I'm still there. That's one thing a
yeah,
lot of Believe founders are new to. They have no idea how to handle Twitter, and even me being crypto native, like I'm not used to being like talking and posting like every day, but now that I have a token, it's like kind of needed for me to do so. So I think that's really great that
yeah,
you're doing that.
yeah. I had to kind of learn this because we were trying to tackle like multiple social platforms. Obviously, like we have an Instagram account, we have a Twitter, we have a TikTok account, a YouTube account, but we just kind of they're on pause for now because I mean our audience, our users, and everyone token holders, they're all on crypto Twitter. So I think realizing that and just having a strong communications team, operations team, they told me like you have to be on X. Like there's no discussion around that. So you have to be 3 or 4 tweets a day. That's just how it is, right? So yeah, I learned that, and it works well, right? I mean, yeah, you have to show your progress as well. So now we're just focused on shipping this Android app, and I mean we have a crazy roadmap for this year. So just excited to tweet out all the new app updates. We release products in the future, and it's great. We get good feedback too. So we're going to be creating a like a intake form soon, where all of our users can basically just fill out a form and say, I want to see these features, or I don't like this feature about Dextoro, or beta testers, things like that. So I think we're going to just accelerate the user feedback loop pretty soon as well.
That's awesome. I guess one thing that just crossed my mind is like how much runway do you guys have? Let's say like revenue stays the same as it is today, which it won't, but just for the hypothetical situation here, like at what point would you need to like re-raise? I don't know if you want to share that. Also, if you want to keep it private, I get it. It's just a thought that crossed my mind.
Yeah, well, our raise is public and it's on Crunchbase and all, but yeah, I mean, it's obviously we have a pretty big team, so overhead and payroll is quite large, obviously. But when you have a team, been building together for almost 2.5 years now, so our core team members, engineers, they have a small amount of equity as well, so they they don't expect to have a crazy payroll and causing massive overhead at the company now. So they're making a great salary. I'll tell you that, all of them. But giving them equity in the company, giving them a piece of the pie, definitely even if we were to make nothing our team would stay with us because they have that equity, and that's the most important thing. But obviously, we're not going to stay here. We're going to trying to hit 5 million per month in app revenue by the end of this year. Very achievable, and just imagine the flywheel with 5 million a month in revenue. So I think that's what everyone's waiting for is that vision, and that's just by the end of this year, right?
I'm imagining.
There's no stopping there.
I'm imagining it. This is a great conversation. I really enjoyed having you on. It's always nice to have someone crypto native on who really knows like the ins and outs of why a token's important and all of that. So I'm really looking forward to keeping up with your success, and maybe we'll do a follow-up episode in a couple weeks from now or a couple months from now. But thank you for taking the time to come on.
Amazing. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.